Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we will look at how Magnus plays against the Caro Kann. This game Magnus played a while ago. He was already really good, but he was not yet a world champion. So let's take a look. E4 c6. He's playing against the strong grandmaster Carlsen-Ernst. d4, d5. And now we have a choice. We can push, win, take, or we can defend. Magnus chooses to defend. Okay, black plays the main move by far takes. Obviously white takes. And now, as we mentioned previously, black has several choices. Black can bring out the bishop, attack the knight. Black can play knight here to prepare knight f6, with the idea that if we take, black takes back with the knight and does not damage his pawn structure, or black can play here right away. In this game, black plays bishop f5, attacking the knight. Magnus plays the main move, dropping the knight back to g3, attacking the bishop. The bishop, of course, retreats to g6. It's a very powerful bishop. Magnus plays the main move, pawn h4. The threat is obvious. We want to trap the bishop. Pawn h6. Black builds a square to escape to. Magnus develops the second knight. One of the ideas is to play knight e5, which is why black plays the main move, knight d7, taking control of the square. Magnus continues with h5, asking the bishop what it wants to do. Of course, it doesn't have a choice. It goes to h7. And now Magnus plays bishop d3 to trade bishops. Why? Because it's a good bishop. And because we can't really do too much else with this guy. If we put it here, he'll just get blocked. We could put it here, but he's not really doing too much. And this bishop is pretty good. So trading is best. Well, black doesn't have a choice, he trades. Otherwise we'll take, and the rook does not really want to be on h7. So takes. Obviously we take with the queen. Now we have more space. We have 3 pieces out. But black is very solid, and he plays e6. His pawns are controlling the light squares. His bishop can move on the dark squares. This is a typical idea. If you trade off one of your bishops, you put your pawns on the color of that bishop. White has 2 moves which are quite similar. This bishop needs to play chess. He could go to f4, d2. The pawn of f4, it's very active. The pawn of d2, it stops this. Magnus chooses f4. Black plays the second main move, knight f6. Continue to develop. Magnus castles long, bringing this rook into the game. Black gets ready to castle short. And Magnus plays knight e4, bringing the knight back to the middle of the board, but also opening the door for this pawn to start moving forward. Black plays queen a5. Maybe black can castle long. Also the queen attacks this pawn, which is why Magnus spends a move to stop it. The king defense. When you castle long, this is a move you often like to play anyway. Black castles. And now Magnus decides to take the knight. Why does he take the knight? We'll see in a second. Black has a choice. He can take back with the knight or the bishop. Take with the pawn opens up the king. Take with the bishop is not very good, because now we can launch a pawn storm. The idea is simple. Play g5, bring this rook. Not here. Bring this rook here. And we have a nice attack, which is why black takes with the knight. Now g4 is still possible. It's a pawn sacrifice. It does open up this line, But Magnus chooses a different approach. Plays knight e5. He has a very, very strong knight. We have ideas of maybe playing f3 and then g4. We can still play g4 immediately because the knight defends this square. And this is a very nice knight. Black improves his rook, puts it across from the queen. The idea is of playing pawn c5 now, taking advantage of the spin. Which is why Magnus drops his queen back, at the same time supporting this knight. And Black continues with his idea. As you can see, in this game, Magnus was only rated a little bit under 2500. But now we get a nice masterpiece after pawn c5 was played. Magnus plays knight g6, sacrificing the knight. We are attacking the bishop. We are attacking the rook. Computer doesn't think that taking is very good. That is what Black did. Computer thinks this is the best move. And here we are slightly better. We will take the bishop. Black will take back. We'll take this pawn. Notice the queen cannot take back because the rook will fall. And if Black trades rooks first, we take back. Again, taking is not advisable because now we have a nice fork on this square. So let's go back. Ernst took because he did not think Magnus was going to cause too much trouble. And now Magnus takes on e6. We're still attacking this pawn. We're attacking the bishop. If Black tries to save the bishop by playing rook f7, we can take and the rook will fall. Which is why Black moves the king. And now Magnus could take the bishop, but he decides to go for something much more powerful. Takes on g6, opening up his rook. So now there could be ideas of sacrificing on h6 and opening and introducing the rook into the attack. Black played knight g8, double defend the pawn, but Magnus does not care. He takes anyway. Black takes back, and now Magnus sacrifices the rook. Black takes. It looks like Magnus only has 2 pieces left, but combined with this pawn, this is enough. He takes here, he's trying checkmate. The best way to stop it is with knight f7, blocking the queen. Magnus takes, and he's still down a rook, but have a very powerful pawn on f7, and the king is completely open. We have ideas of bringing the rook into the attack, of bringing the queen into the attack. So Black has to be very careful. For example, if he just ignores everything and grabs the pawn, this is actually a very quick win. We're going to check the king first, and then we'll bring the rook next. King h7, rook h1. Which is why Black decides to move the king back into the middle. King g7. Okay, how do we continue the attack? Compare one's queen e5. Magnus plays the second best move, rook g3. Does the rook lift? The rook can swing to g3 now. If Black ignores us, this is going to be devastating. For example, again, let's pretend Black takes. Have rook g3. Now, the king can go here, here, and here. After here, this is the simplest move. Same thing happens after this one. King h6 is a little bit more interesting, because if we check, Black can now block, but we throw in queen f6. And the point of queen f6 is, after king h7, we checkmate with the queen. Our rook defends. If the king goes the other way, this is a little bit more complicated, but we checkmate in 2 moves. We check, force the king down, And now we don't check with the queen, because queen can block, but we check with the rook. We could also checkmate with the queen from here. So let's go back. So that's Magnus's threat. Black needs to deal with this. Rook d6. Very nice move. Trying to block. It seems this is a free rook, but it's not. If we take, we actually lose because black has a background mate. He doesn't have it now because of our queen. But if our queen moves, then we'll lose. This is an important lesson. Sometimes when you attack, you sort of forget to pay attention to your opponent. Okay, Magnus checks. Black blocks with the rook, that's the best move. Everything else loses immediately. If he moves the king, this is simple. We can even take the rook, and it's game over because after this we have checkmate. So can't go that way. Going this way, we check from here. If the king moves up or down, queen h4 will be mate. After rook g6, we simply take the rook and mate on the next move. So can't go here. And there is nothing else. So rook g6. Magnus checks. Again, black has to be very careful if he moves the king. This is simple checkmate. Because our queen covers both of these squares. So cannot go to h6. If you go to h7, this is a little bit more complicated because we start with a check. This is also a fork. So the only move which doesn't lose the rook is to block. But now we have this check. The rook cannot block because we take it. So the king has to move. Now we got queen e5 followed by mate. This is why black takes the pawn. Magnus checks. And here black made a tragic mistake. He's getting mated anyway. I'll show you some of the lines in a second. But black accelerates matters by blocking with the rook. And now Magnus delivers a beautiful checkmate, which I'm sure many of you can see. Queen d7 because the rook covers this line. Black could have been a little bit more stubborn. If we follow the computer line, he can play king e7. By the way, it's important not to take the rook because we get mated. So instead, we bring the rook with check. If the king goes here, we take this rook and the attack continues. If the king goes here, same thing. We take the rook. We already have 3 pawns and the attack continues. Even if you cannot see the checkmate in 12 at that point. So very nice attacking game by Magnus. It shows you how quickly things can fall apart for black in the Caro Kann. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, please subscribe. I'll be back soon. Thank you.